Speaking of, remember when the president tried to put a national park in Ohio and it just ended up with the entire city needing to be evacuated, never to return? And then everyone just started calling it Helltown. A little bit sketchy sketch with the national parks.
Okay, so if you guys have not seen the movie The Ritual, you guys need to see it. It's a movie that is on Netflix, and it's basically about a group of guys who end up getting stranded in the middle of the wilderness, and they come across a group of people that worship a mythical creature. The mythical creature actually takes physical form and is kind of like this tree-looking thing that has like glowing eyes and can put you in a trance and make you see weird stuff. So basically, the guy ends up running through the woods, and basically, once he gets past a certain point in the woods, the mythical creature cannot follow him. So I'm saying all of this to say that basically, what if there is so much truth in that movie? What if there are certain things that are in the forest that we don't know about and quite literally can't go past a certain point in the woods, which is why we never see them?
No, we can't talk about that. I don't want to. That makes me feel very uncomfortable. I don't need to know any more about that.
Okay, sit down. Story time. So at this point, a lot of people are aware of the 411 missing cases in national parks and national forests, and a lot of people have been sharing their personal stories, so I figured I'd share one of mine that's been giving me nightmares for years now. So I live in California, and every year, twice a year, I'd take a trip up to Washington. I have family up there, and I love visiting, and I love camping. Back in the summer of, I think, 2017, I took a road trip up there with two of my friends. We ended up spending a whole week up there, and we camped like every night. But on like the third or fourth day, things kind of changed. We were driving north somewhere between Tacoma and SeaTac, and we were stuck in traffic when we saw one of those big LED billboards that was saying something about an Amber Alert. So we took note of the fact that it was a silver Subaru Outback, and we wrote down the license plate number. Now, hours later, we were driving through like the backwoods roads around Mount Rainier. We were driving pretty slow because the roads were really narrow, it's in the middle of the forest, and it's not really well maintained, and we reached like a hairpin turn, and we saw a car that was just totaled on the side of the road in the trees. I mean, this car's wrecked. It was smashed against trees. There's no way it's running. And as we were passing, we noticed it was the same type of car that was described in the Amber Alert, and we saw that the license plate number was the same. So we kept driving for about 5 minutes looking for a spot where we can turn around because the roads are narrow, and we finally did, and we pulled back up and the car was gone. Just vanished. There's no tracks or anything. And I was stupid, but I got out of the car and I started walking through the woods to see if I could find anything, but I found nothing. That's stupid. Don't ever do that. We had no cell reception, so we had to drive back into the nearest town till we got cell reception, and my friend called the cops. He was on the phone with them, they made a report, took a note of it, and not really sure if anything happened after that. By the time this was all said and done, it was already nighttime, the sun had gone down, it was super late because it was in the summer, and we just couldn't find a hotel to really stay in, so it was like, okay, well, time to find a camping spot. We ended up doing dispersed camping that night, somewhere just randomly in the middle of the forest, and sleeping in a tent after that was pretty uncomfortable. That experience has been stuck in my head for years now, and I have dreams about it still, and it makes me very uncomfortable and very uneasy. I still wonder what the fuck happened.
As exciting as cannibals and cults might seem, I made a list of what actually happens in national parks in the US. New hikers hike by themselves and don't plan their route. If you're backpacking, you need to submit a map and a route to your park ranger of that park. If you're new to hiking or backpacking, you need to hike with people, at least one other person, maybe two other people. Intoxication, pretty straightforward. If you're intoxicated, you might get lost, you might get hurt, and you can vanish like that pretty easy. Not following marked trails or going off marked trails. Marked trails are there for a reason, and if you're going off trail, you run the risk of absolutely vanishing without a trace. There can be areas of the parks where it's so dangerous that you can just fall off a cliff and die, and nobody will ever find your body because animals will get to it. Not giving wild animals space. You need to stay away from wild animals, please.
Girl, baloo, I'll let you go. You should have stayed your ass on the trail. Go missing. I'm not fighting no spirits tonight!
Hey, National Park Ranger here. I just wanted to take a second to get on here and kind of debunk this theory that people.
Yes, let's talk about it. A lot of people go missing every year. But one concept is pretty interesting. So a long time ago, I was reading this book about death. Totally forget what the book's name was, so if you know, comment below. But they made a pretty valid point. The best way to fake your own death is to vanish. Vanish while you're hiking. Why? Everybody expects a body. Everybody. Whether you drowned or anything like that, they expect a body. But there's lots of people that go missing every year in national parks. A lot of bodies never found. What's happening to these people? So they say, you want to fake your own death? Go hiking and disappear. Makes you wonder how many people are out there that went missing but are really just living a double life. Just a thought.
I have a story that relates to this that has to do with someone I know who's training to be a park ranger. One of the tests for being a park ranger is that you have to camp alone and all you're given is camping supplies, a map, and a camera. The first day was completely fine for her, but after the first night, this is when it started to get creepy. When she woke up, she noticed that her camera was out of her bag, and on the camera was a photo of her tent, which she did not remember taking. She just ignored it and thought that maybe she forgot she took the photo and decided to go on with her day. After the second night, she woke up, same thing, camera out of the bag, and on it was a picture of her sleeping. She was of course scared and decided to take a different route in case the person who was following her would lose her. However, that did not work, and after the third night, she woke up to a picture of someone grabbing her ankle. Luckily though, an emergency helicopter was able to pick her up, and when she was in the helicopter, they spilled the news to her that there are cannibals that live in the forest.
I know I made a video on this before, but there is something out there in the Croatian National Forest. I don't really like talking about this thing too much because it gives me cold chills every time I talk about it, and it creeps my husband the hell out. So my ex-stepdad was a Marine, and we used to go mudding a lot in the Croatian National Forest with a lot of his buddies. One particular night, my husband went with us because we were dating in high school, and it was getting late and we had school, so my parents decided to leave a little bit early. And as we're coming up around the bend, we see this tall black thing walking on two legs hurry into the forest across from us. I mean, it happened so quick, I thought I imagined it, but my husband squeezed my hand and my stepdad stopped the Jeep and locked the doors. I could tell by the way my stepdad was talking that he was scared. We waited for a little while, but it didn't come back out. He called his buddies and told them they needed to leave the forest. A couple of years later, the Charlotte Observer posted something about how some Marines saw the exact same damn thing back in the 70s. And I found this on message boards. We're not the only ones that have seen this thing. I don't know what the hell it is, but you couldn't pay me to go back into that forest.